Now let's... I can't do this. I need a weekend fast. Thank goodness it's Friday. Hi everyone and welcome to Pal to Tech. Today we're talking about one of the most important steps of taking photos, and that is making sure that they get from your camera to the SD card properly and with some organization. Your Fujifilm camera has several options located in the wrench, right under Save Data Setup, right here. First thing we're going to talk about is card slot setting. You have one for both stills and movies. One of the biggest benefits of owning a Fujifilm camera is that it has dual card slots. You can always tell what card you're currently shooting to by the little highlighted white icon. You see that? In this case, I am shooting right to card slot number 1. Now, there are 3 primary ways that you can save images to your SD card. The first is called sequential. Now, with sequential, you'll have one card in each slot, and the camera will begin to fill up the first SD card. Once the first SD card is full, the camera will then automatically switch over to the second one and begin filling up that one as well. The next choice is backup, and that is by far the safest way to shoot photos. The camera is basically saving images on both cards at the same time while you're shooting them. Exact copies of each other, same file names, same format, and so forth. And the third one is RAW/JPEG. Now, with this option enabled, all of your RAW files will be saved to card slot number 1, while your JPEGs will be saved to card slot number 2. Now, obviously, for both backup and RAW/JPEG options to work, you've got to have SD cards in both of the slots on the camera. Now, when it comes to storing movies, you have similar options right here, and it works in a very similar manner to saving stills. The next item I want to talk about is photo and file naming. Every time you shoot and save a photo to your SD card, your camera puts it into a folder. Once it does that, it assigns it a 2-part name to that RAW or that JPEG file. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and shoot a photo right now. Now watch what happens when I go to play back the photo on the camera, okay? Okay, so do you see this string of digits located right in the upper right corner? You see that right there? It actually contains 2 parts. The first part has to do with the folder that the photos are being put in, and the second part is the actual number of the photo itself. I want you to remember this because we're going to come back to it in just a moment. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take the SD card out of the camera. Let's put it in the computer. And Fujifilm cameras pretty much save everything inside a big folder called DCIM. Then inside that folder, you have a special numbered folder, which is a number plus 5 characters, right? And this is a 2-part file name. The first 3 characters, the number, right? That's what I showed you earlier. Remember in the viewfinder? Okay. The second part, the name of this folder, that's a 5-character designator that comes after those 3 digits. And if you don't do anything, the default is the underscore character and then FUJI, or Fuji. Now, inside that folder, there you have your photos, your JPEGs, your RAW files, and so forth. Each photo has a 2-part naming sequence. The first part is a 3 or 4 character prefix, followed by a 4-digit number. Now, this 4-digit number is the actual number of the photo, and they're incremented by 1 each time you take a shot. Now, once the camera gets to 9,999 photos, which is the maximum value that it can count up to with 4 digits, it will then restart, and on the very next photo, it'll number it 0001 and so forth as it increments up. Okay, you got this so far? You have your outer folder, which is DCIM, and inside that you have your specially numbered and named Fuji folder, right? 100_Fuji, and inside that you have your files and your images. The first part of the name is a 3 or 4 alphanumeric character, and the second part is a 4-character numerical sequence that goes to 9,999. Now, I had mentioned that once your camera gets to photo number 9,999, it starts back at 0001 again. Frame number, you see that right there? You can choose either continuous or renew. Continuous means that the camera doesn't care how many times you take out the SD card and what you do with it later on, and when you put the SD card back in, it will continue the numbering sequence of the images. However, if you choose renew, okay, now what that means is when you go to format the card and you take your first shot, it's going to be image 0001. It will reset itself every single time you go to format the card. It puts it back to 0001. Now that you're aware of the folders and the files and how they're named, let me tell you a couple other really important things. You can edit the folder name. Do you see that right there? So for example, I can create a folder, right? And when I do, I see a screen that looks just like this. Now you cannot edit the 3 digits part of the folder name. You can only edit the 5 alphanumeric characters that are after that. You know, the underscore Fuji. You see these little arrows? That'll moves the cursor back and forth. And the way that you want to edit this is go to the delete function. You see that? And it basically allows you to delete it. And now you can name it anything you want. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to call it Pal 1, okay? But notice that I cannot hit the set button. It's grayed out. And that's because the set button will only illuminate once you have at least 5 characters. So if I don't have anything after Pal 1, if there was nothing else I wanted to put there, then I could put an underscore character. Boom, there it goes. Now the set appeared, okay? So what I'm actually gonna do is I'll call it Pal underscore 1. That way I'm in compliance with the 5 character requirement. I'm gonna go ahead and hit set, right? Now I'm gonna go ahead and format the card. Okay, I'm gonna take another shot. Okay, here it is right here. Remember, our outer folder is DCIM. Have a look at that. You see that? It used the custom name that I assigned it. Remember, the 3-digit number you can't change, but you can change the 5 characters after that and name it whatever you want. Now, if I go in that folder, there are my images again, which is a perfect segue to talk about naming images. Let's do that. Edit file name. You see that? Now, something very important. If you're shooting in the Adobe RGB color space, or if you're shooting in the sRGB color space, you have different choices in what the system allows you to name it. If you're using sRGB, you can have up to 4 characters. If you're using Adobe RGB, you only get 3. I always shoot in Adobe RGB, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that for this demo, but just know that everything I'm about to tell you will work for sRGB as well. The only difference is you get an extra character. Okay, so going into that, and right now it's that underscore DSF. So why would you wanna rename them anyway? Well, let's say you have multiple cameras. One of the best things I think you can do would be to put an abbreviation for the camera you're using, and that way, just by looking at the file name, you'll know what camera you shot it with. This is an X-T4, so I'm gonna hit delete, 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 and I'm going to name it X-T4. Set, and there it is. Anytime I'm in the Adobe RGB color space and I'm shooting photos, my file name will have that in it, all right? Let's shoot one more picture. Trust but verify. Okay, back on the computer, let's have a look. There's the folder, Pal1, that I had named earlier. Inside that folder, it doesn't say X-T4. What happened? I made this mistake on purpose. I really did. The reason that I didn't see my changes was because I did not format my SD card after I customized the information. In other words, if you're going to customize the folder name or customize the file name, you must format your SD card. I wasted all this time to teach an important concept, which hopefully you won't forget. Okay, it's formatted. Let's try it again. Taking another shot here. Okay, taking the SD card out of the camera, back into the computer. Look at that, X-T4, you see that? That's part of the file name now. And it's a great way to be organized because I can use that on this camera, the X-T4. If I have an X-T3, I can have X-T3. And if you're shooting sRGB, which gives you up to 4 characters, you could do X-T4A and X-T4B if you happen to have 2 X-T4s and you're shooting sRGB and you want to customize your file name. And lastly, there's one more setting that I just have to go over. Save original image. You see that? All right, I'm going to shoot a JPEG right now of Thanos. All right, all that does is if you go into the playback after you shot the image and you press Menu OK, Scroll down. You see where it says red eye removal? You see that? What that setting means, save original image, is if you have it on, your camera will also save an original unred eye edited version of that image. That's all. That's the only thing that does. Okay, before we go, I have one more thing I have to do on a Friday, and I think some of you know what it is.
The Geariguana Hall of Fame!
Well, it's that time again, and we have a brand new Geariguana Hall of Fame member. I am pleased to announce Florian Cortese, or should I say Cortese? I don't know the right way to pronounce it. I'm so sorry if I botched it up. But Florian, thank you so much for supporting the channel and joining the Geariguana Hall of Fame. It is time right now to get your name up on the studio wall. So without any further ado, let me put down this rather odd-looking microphone setup and let's get started. Well, there you have it, another awesome Pal to Tech channel supporter whose name will always forever be out of frame in the studio, on the studio wall right behind me. Thank you so much, Florian. And for the rest of you, if you've not seen the Pal to Tech backstage area, be sure to go check it out. We have a lot of fun over there. Anyhow, let's return now and I'll shoot the outro. Well, I hope you found the video helpful, or at least entertaining. And if you did, be sure to give it the like and subscribe. I am going to be signing off now. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see all of you in a new video next week. Take care. Now let's see. Whoops. These SD cards are flying today.